Hey guys, it's Terry. How's your heart today? How is your heart? I hope it's well. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm thinking of each and every one of you and sending all of my love and all of the good juju your way. So hopefully that helps in case you're feeling kind of meh or you're having a case of the blahs, which is totally normal, totally natural, and totally human. So today I'm answering a question that was written into me by Kelsey Ryan 528. And what Kelsey wanted to know was, what are the first steps towards learning how to read tarot cards? What are the steps that you take? Well, Kelsey, great question. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to answer you here. So the first steps that you're going to want to do when you're learning how to read tarot cards is there's really two steps. The first most important step is to acknowledge that you have a human ego and that it loves to run the show and that it loves to give its opinion. Okay, so the first step is understanding that your ego is going to want to give the reading, not your highest self. All right. So the first thing, once you acknowledge that, the next step is you're going to have to kind of put the ego aside, right? And just basically tell the ego, look, I'm not trying to get rid of you because I know how important you are to me and I know how much you help me and I know how much you saved my life. But you have a tendency to be a bit judgmental and I'm not here to judge the person that I'm reading for, even if it's just practice. Even if it's just practice, okay? So it's super, super important to really understand that as a human being, we have an ego and the ego is going to want to do the reading. Your higher self is the one that needs to be doing the reading. So you need to set your ego aside. There are two ways you can do that. And again, these are the beginning steps. So I'm going to share with you how I do it. And then you can maybe from that figure out what the best way is for you to do it. So the first thing that I do when I want to set my ego aside is I do some sort of meditation. Now, meditation is designed, the cockatoo's up, he threw me for a bit. Meditation is designed to lull the ego. Ego. It's one of those days, y'all. We are Mercury retrograde, so at least I know I'm right on schedule. One of the things is to lull the ego. Again, we don't take it away. We just have it step aside, right? So for me, it's meditation. Meditation tells the ego to just sort of like silencio, be quiet, yes? It allows you to focus. It allows you to tap into different frequencies. Remember, we are electromagnetic beings. When you are doing card readings or any type of psychic readings, you are tapping into the auric field, the electromagnetic field of another human being. Psychic readings are for people who are alive. So you are tapping into their electromagnetic fields. When you are in meditation, you have opened up those frequencies. You have gotten beyond yourself, meaning the ego, and you are now prepared to truly tap into frequencies of someone else. So that's the first step. The second step that I do is I do say a prayer, and that prayer is for a few things. One, the prayer is for my ego to step aside. This is not about me, this reading. This is about giving information to whoever I'm reading for their highest good. Okay, so that means whatever comes out, it's for their highest good. That is my intention with every reading that I give. I want you to step away from me feeling better about yourself than when you came in, even if I have to give you shitty, crappy news, which is for your highest good, for your evolution, for your growth, right? So in that prayer, I will say that. I will also ask in that prayer that whoever I read information for understands it, and I'm able to say it in a way that's relatable to them and as accurate as possible, because the reality is that I am a human being. If you're going to do a reading, you are a human being. There are times where your ego will come up and you just got to go, step aside, sir, step aside, ma'am, right? And so as a human being, there are times, and again, we have to work really hard at like not judging, at not, getting our ego involved, making it an objective reading instead of subjective reading. It's not about us. It's not about us. So the prayer, I reiterate, please let them have information that they can relate to in a way that they'll understand, and as accurate as possible. Right? Because I'm not all knowing. And if you're going to be reading, you're not all knowing. So that's probably the third step, is to realize that you make mistakes. You're a human being. And as much as your intention is to be correct 100% of the time, it's just not humanly possible. Okay. It's also super important to set that up with your client or whoever you're reading for. So that could be a step 4. So these are all the beginning steps that you're even going to take before you pull out a freaking card. Okay. So there is a process. Now, once you have your cards, you can do this a couple different ways. If you have learned a specific I don't want to say routine, but a specific way of doing things. What do they call them? Layouts. They're called layouts. If you are doing a specific layout for you are the reader, and a person you are reading for is your sitter. Okay, so if you yourself have learned a specific layout, and that's what you're gonna use as a tool to channel your intuition. Remember, you're still always using your intuition. Technically, a good psychic doesn't even need any of these tools. The reason why a lot of us use these tools is because it's kind of entertaining, and the sitter likes to, be entertained. So these cards are not necessarily being used for us, the readers. It's more for the sitters, because it's just more fun. It's more entertaining. But a good psychic doesn't even need that information, okay? Because again, remember, we're just tapping into electromagnetic fields, and we're getting information off of the waves of your own energy centers. So there's that. But if you're going to use a specific layout, you read based on that layout. I don't do specific layouts. I go rogue. I only use cards as an entertainment factor. A lot of the times when I do readings, especially now since they're online or on the phone, I'll start out using the cards, but then I end up not even using the cards. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. I don't need the cards, right? You don't need the cards. Trust me, you're good enough. You just need to develop and learn and practice. That's all. You're great. Trust me. I know these things. So anyways, when you're first starting, that's what you got to do. There are some things you just have to trust. That's really the main thing. Before you really can do card reading, you have to learn a few things. You have to trust in the universe, and you have to trust in yourself. You have to really set good boundaries with yourself too, that you're not going to bring in your judgment. You're not going to make this reading subjective. This is an objective reading. This has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. You're there to help them. So those are actually the beginning steps to tarot card readings that most people don't even teach you, or most people don't even, I want to say acknowledge, but to me, that's the ethical part of all of this. Well, part of the ethical part. There's a lot of ethics involved. But it's super important to set yourself up as the right, authentic, trustworthy, honest, no bullshitting reader. And also making sure that the sitter feels comfortable, feel safe, is disarmed, so that you can get into their auric field, so that you can use the cards. The cards are just going to display like pictures. They're just going to display words. They're going to display colors, you know, that you're going to use your intuition to interpret. Okay, so that's really where we start. That is where we start. We start with setting ourselves up to trust ourselves, setting ourselves to trust the universe, setting ourselves to set our ego aside, and setting up our clients or whoever we're going to read for, the sitter, to feel safe enough, to trust us enough to open up their energy. We cannot get into their energy. We will not be able to do their reading. I don't care how the cards show up for you, whether you're like really like into specific layouts and like that's the way you read, or whether you go rogue like I do, where I merely use my intuition. So it's really up to you along those lines. But what's non-negotiable is get yourself out of the reading, because it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with your sitter. So that is the first step, Kelsey. All right, that's the first step. Maybe second step too. Those are the first few steps before you even open up the cards. Holy shit. Yes, it's true. So great question. Thank you so much for asking, Kelsey. And if any of you guys have any questions that you'd like for me to answer, please feel free to reach out to me, ask your questions, and stay connected. Stay connected to yourself, stay connected to your friends and family. You can stay connected to me by checking me out at terryhuberman.com. I do readings, I do coaching, I've got a podcast, and I even have a community where we can all get together, like-minded folks, be with each other. There are live workshops, there are live sessions, exclusive content that's on Patreon, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.